Go! And we're back. That's right, we're back for another episode of Successful Marketing, Sales, and Relationships for Adult Business Owners and Entrepreneurs. And I am your host, Sit Down Long. That's right, we're back again. So today's topic, let's just jump right into it. Today's topic, I was watching television the other day, and I saw Coach Prime. Coach Prime's all over TV right now. Commercials, him being interviewed, his games, versus other teams. And they took a rough loss the other day. You know, they had 29-point lead and man, gave that thing away, you know, and they ended up losing. So in the press conference, they asked Coach Prime about it. And Coach Prime's response was something that was pretty exciting to me. He said, "Hey, man, we're not built for that yet. I got a lot of guys on this team. Um, some guys love it. He's talking about football, and some guys just like it. I need guys that love it. I need guys that love it because when you love it, you're committed to it. And when you're in like with it, it's just something you could do or not do. But when you love it, you don't have a choice. You drawn to it. You're willing to do anything to succeed at it. And those are the kind of guys I need. Those are the kind of guys I can win with. And as I was sitting there, I'm like, man, that sounds a lot like really need and really want versus really like. Okay. So anybody who's been watching these podcasts, anybody who knows me knows that there are only two kinds of customers that matter. Those are the customers that really want it, and those are the customers who really need it. Anything other than that is a waste of your marketing dollars, is a waste of your time, is a waste of your resources. So you need to focus all your energy on really want and really need. Okay. Now, the cool thing about what Coach Prime was saying is he took really want and really need and wrapped it up in love. And the way I'll put the two together is people who love what they do or love the life that they have or love the situation that they're in really need solutions, really want solutions to keep them there. One thing that I talk about a lot with clients is the three S's: survival, safety, status. Okay. Everybody needs all three of those. You need to be able to survive. Okay. That means I need all my needs met. I need food, clothing, shelter, a car to drive, you know. So those are things that I cannot live without. Can't live without roof over my head. Can't live without, well, most people can't. The majority of people cannot live without these things that we just talked about. And then there's safety, you know, knowing that once I get those things, nobody can take them from me. You know, nobody can run up in my house. Nobody can take my car. You know, nobody can take liberties against me and my body. So there's safety. Which is why things like ring um lights or whatever the thing they call it when you stick it on the door, you can see who's at your door without you even being at home, or all those camera services. That's why they make so much money, because people want to protect the thing that they work so hard to get. That's why car insurance makes so much money. You know, the majority of people have car insurance. There are a few out there, maybe you get hit by somebody and they don't, but the majority of people got car insurance. You know, probably never had an accident, but they got car insurance. Why? Because if something happens to that car, they want to be able to protect it. And then the last one is status. And a lot of people push back on status because they think of status as trying to impress other people. But status is really the flip side of that. It's the flip side. It's not wanting to be embarrassed, not wanting to be in shame, not wanting to stand out for the wrong reason. You know. So again, you need people who don't want to be embarrassed. Now, here's how that relates to what Coach Brown was saying. Okay. If I know that we're going to be on national television and cameras are going to be on, and they're going to replay my mistakes for years, the last thing I want is some guy to embarrass me. Some guy to dunk on me, some guy to grab a football off the top of my head, some guy to stiff arm me into the ground. And now, my grandkids are able to see my worst moment. So I need a guy who loves it enough and cares enough to say, hey, that's not gonna be me. You know, when it gets tough, I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to have tricks in my bag. I'm going to have a solution to ensure that I don't get embarrassed. Same thing in business. Same thing in every business. Your customer does not want to be embarrassed when they show up at that restaurant. This man didn't call this girl for 4 or 5 weeks trying to get this date. Now finally he got the date. He done went, washed his car. Why? Because he don't want to be embarrassed. Went put on a nice outfit because he don't want to be embarrassed. When he got his haircut, looked real good, smelled real good, spent money on cologne because he don't want to be embarrassed. And then when he gets to the restaurant, because that's something he can't control. He can control all that other stuff. But now the one thing he can't control that is in your control is the experience that he has with this woman. Because this is going to be embedded in her mind for all time. Okay? If it goes well, she'll always think of him fondly. She'll respect him. He will not be embarrassed. Hell, she might even marry. Okay. So again, doesn't want to be embarrassed. So the food got to be right. Okay. Bathrooms got to be clean. Silverware has to be clean. Glasses have to sparkle. Server has to be on point. Don't want to be embarrassed. So again, you got to love what you do so much that when the time comes for your customer to walk through the door, they're not embarrassed. You know, they're not embarrassed. Yeah, I know I paused for a second, but that's okay. But why is that important? I just want to jump to the next thing. I also wanted to make it easier for me to clip these things later. Okay. So why is that important? Okay. Because the better job you do at not embarrassing the people who patronize you and who support you and who spend money with you, the more people they'll refer to you. Okay. See, Coach Prime, if that team wins because all those guys care enough to put forth maximum effort, they'll attract more players of the similar caliber or better. Okay. Same thing goes for you. If your customers are shining, if your customers are winning, if your customers are showing out and showing up on the biggest stages, you'll attract more customers. That easy, that simple. Okay. But you need people to love it. And you need to have enough love for it to prepare it properly so that they don't get embarrassed when they use it. Because see, when Coach Prime sat on that podium, he was embarrassed. Hey man, we had a 29-point lead. Can't win with these guys. These guys don't love it. They don't love it enough to make sure that our futures are secure. They don't love it enough to make sure we're not embarrassed. So I have to now get better players. Now for you, that means that you might have to get a better marketing message. That I might have to say in my message all of the things that are dog whistles, that are bat signals to my client or potential client and or customer that I won't embarrass them. Hey, I know how important it is on a Friday night to impress the one you love. That's why we've done the following. So now when that person sees your little video or that person sees your little post, or they see your ad, they know in advance, okay, this person cares about me. Person wants me to win. I'm going there. Again, could be anything. Hey, we know how important it is, that your car run at optimal condition because we know that you're transporting your loved ones. And nothing's more important than a safe car for your mother, for your wife, for your children. They get it. They understand it. And because they get it and understand it, guess what? They'll come to you. So if you get your marketing message right, then you can obviously get to people who really want and really need the solution you're offering. So again, let's not waste a lot of time on people who don't want it. Because that's what Coach Rhyme is saying. Coach Rhyme is saying, hey, people who don't want it, we got to figure out a way to get them out of here. Same thing in business. The people who don't want it, we got to figure out a way to get them out of here. How do we get them out of here in business? Hey, we just stop patronizing them. We stop patronizing them. We stop doing business with them. We stop recommending them. And ultimately, they run out of money and they go away. So if you're someone who's struggling and you're in that, hey, they don't think I care enough situation, you need to now start figuring out what you need to do different. And here's what makes it hard. Because ideally, man, people have been taught to talk about themselves. Most people are talking about their goals, their dreams, their aspirations, their hopes. I sit down with clients and the clients are like, well, this is what I want. I want to sell, items at $50,000 a pop. How do I sell a big ticket item? I want to make $1 million. How do I do that? And then the first thing I go to is, okay, well, what are you offering the customer that makes whatever you're trying to sell them worth that kind of money? And they've never taken a moment to think about it. They're just like, hey, I sell cars, or I sell programs, or I cater. Okay. But have you considered the part of it that is extremely important, which is the three S's? How are you going to help these people survive? How are you going to give them safety? And how are you going to give them and help them keep their status? And you're like, well, what do I have to do with their safety and survival? Well, it's called risk. Yeah. Nobody wants to risk thousands of dollars on something that doesn't work. People could watch these videos all day, but then when it comes right down to it, it's like, man, I really trust Sedon. I really think Sedon could do a good job for me. But do I really want to risk my money? There are people who go on dates, but don't get married. And you're like, well, why would they go on dates and not get married? Well, because marriage comes with risk. Marriage comes with putting your name on a dotted line. Marriage comes with a whole bunch of other responsibilities that, if they don't go well, could put you in a really bad situation. So, with that being said, you have to prove to people that you're not going to jeopardize their safety. You're not going to run off with their money, because now you're messing with their ability to feed their family. Now you're messing with their ability to maintain and keep the things that they've worked so hard to get. So again, we don't want to be embarrassed, and we don't want to lose. I guarantee you right now, a person could find $50 and they would be extremely happy. But if they lost $20 the same day, man, I would have had $70 if I hadn't lost that 20. Not, wow, I'm up 30, even though I lost the 20. So people don't want to lose. They don't want to lose their house. They don't want to lose their car. They don't want to lose their hard-earned money. They don't want to lose the things that they worked so hard to get that help them survive. And once you start showing the customer that you care, and you start putting all of your marketing and your messaging toward people who care as much as you do, Now it becomes a market message match. Now we're telling customers who really need the solutions that we're offering so that they can keep their status, so that they can remain safe, so that they can continue to survive and thrive, that we're here to help them. Again, it becomes like a bat signal. You raise the signal up in the air and you're like, okay, wow, that's great. There's a solution out there. There's someone out there for me. There's someone out there who understands and gets it, who isn't going to have me out here on a Friday night embarrassed, who isn't going to show up 3 hours late with the food for my event, you know, who isn't going to do my roof and then 3 months later it rains on Christmas Eve and now I got leaks again, who isn't going to come and cut my yard and cut it unevenly, or lay down concrete or do whatever construction that I'm asking them to do. And then when I invite people over, they see all the cracks. They see that they didn't clean up. They see all the different things um, that obviously should have been taken care of that haven't been, you know, embarrassed. If you go back to the book, The Big Picture, shout out to Dwayne Ransford. He's been really good about supporting the podcast, tuning in, most mornings. So thank Dwayne, by the way. But if you go out and you look at it in the big picture, I talk about, how when Dwayne sells a house, his job is to make that house as nice as possible for the tenant, because most people never tell people that they're renting. They just say, hey, here's my house, here's where I live. So you have no clue whether or not they are actually the owner or just a tenant. But I want to make it look so good that when they move in, that it feels like it's theirs and they pay their rent, because they don't want to now get kicked out. Because it's hard to explain, well, what happened to your house? Now you suffered the embarrassment and the loss. Well, it wasn't really my house. I was just renting it. Oh, because all those posts on social media are going to be in my new home. By the way, go out, get the big picture, Six to Being Rich, for someone who's rich. Dwayne Ransford and I wrote a book, number one book for people who do not come from money, which is most of us who are trying to get some money. Again, one of the richest black men in the country. If he took the time to sit down with a guy like me and really hash out the steps and give you the understanding, you should really pick that book up. I mean, why wouldn't you? How could you spend $20 better? It's available on Amazon. Pick it up today. So anyway, that's why it's hard to achieve. It's hard to achieve because you spend most of your time thinking about you. Like, how do I now shift that dynamic to where I take at least 20 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, and just sit down and say, okay, what could I do to make sure that my clients aren't embarrassed? How could I make it easier for them? How could I make it faster to get them to the solution that they want so that they're not embarrassed? Because even when, you start talking about time, there's a level of embarrassment with time. You know, well, I ordered this thing. Okay, well, when's it coming? When's it coming? Is it coming today? Is it coming tomorrow? Oh, well, they said in a couple weeks. Okay, well, why is it taking so long? See, there's embarrassment. So how can I get it here faster? And as a business owner, as we talk about, and if you've been following, and if you haven't been following, go back and listen to the other podcast, please. What you'll find out is that's where the real value is. That's where the real separation is between you and your competition. How can I do it faster with less stress? Because stress, that goes back to embarrassment. It goes back to looking stupid. I mean, how many times have you done something and then it didn't work as fast as you thought it would, and you felt like a fool? It's not what we want. We want to keep this thing moving smoothly with the least amount of stress as possible. There's a meme out there. I think, you probably see it on, Instagram, you probably see it on Facebook, and it says you could have it fast, but it won't be cheap. You can have it good, but it won't be fast. So if you can be good and fast, you don't have to be cheap. So again, how can I spend 20 minutes a day? And with that 20 minutes, here's what you want to do. And I'll actually, if you go join the page, you'll get a training. Training will be up. What's today? Today is I think today's Thursday. No, today's Tuesday. Okay, so today's Tuesday. So by Thursday or Friday, I'll have the training up. But you got to join the group to get it. You got to go to growingrich.com. And if you click the button, then I'll get your email address and I'll email it to you. And for clicking the button, you'll also get how to retire rich off one property, which is the ebook Dwayne and I wrote a while back. Um, but again, you know, spending 20 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, in that 20 minutes, you think about how can I make it easier? How could I make it faster? What could I do to make them prouder of my product when they use it? Which means that you're going to have to um, not only SWOT yourself, like people love SWOT, most of my 9 to 5ers, you know what SWOT is, strengths and weaknesses, that whole thing. Okay. But again, you want to look at what you do well, what you don't do well, where your opportunities to get better are. I would say we could be a little bit faster if we did what? You know, not cheaper. We could be a little bit faster. Um, we could we could make our customers shine a little bit more if we and then you start looking at the different areas you could improve within your business. And if you spend 15 to 20 minutes every day looking for ways to improve, you'll improve. Okay. Also, within that 15 to 20 minutes, what are the weaknesses of my competition? Are they slow? Are they sloppy? Do they charge a lot, but they don't give you enough value for the work, because they're slow and sloppy? What are the things that they do? And then you could take the things that they do or don't do well, things that they do well, or things that they don't do well. I mean, you want to look at all of the above, and then you implement them into your business. I mean, people copy my work all the time that don't pay for it. I mean, we kind of make jokes out of it sometimes. Like, man, did you see um, the new program your competition is running? Hey, see how they took our wording? Hey, did you see the new ads that they're running? Did you see how they took our concept? Now, am I going to send cease and desist orders? No, I'll just keep doing what I do because there's enough clients out there for us. We're not worried about one or two, stealing some of our phrasing because at the end of the day, we're still going to be better. We're still going to be faster. We're still going to get a better result. So even if you're stealing it, it don't really matter. Not worried about that at all. Because it's made for people to consume, and if people consume it and are influenced by it, then that's a good thing. Again, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. Yeah, I might be a little too old to say that, but it still feels good. Anyway, so 15, 20 minutes. You know, what could we do better? What does our competition do well? What don't they do well? And how can we capitalize on that or incorporate that? And then the next thing is just simply writing down what are the things our clients struggle with. And here's a little superstar trick for you. Don't disagree with them. Agree with them. And then redefine, reframe, and repurpose the conversation. Again, people talk about being in relationships. Okay. So I'm not going to disagree with what you're saying. Okay. You're right. We all can agree that it is important to have someone in your corner. So now here goes the redefine and the reframing goes. Okay. But what kind of person? See, now that right there, that little piece right there, right there, right there, that piece right there, that piece gives you an opportunity to then introduce a new idea. Okay. Because if you disagree with them right out the gate, guess what? They're going to turn you off. Turn into Carrie Hilton on you. Wait a minute. They're going to turn you off. And if they turn you off, that means they tune you out. And if they tune you out and they turn you off, that means guess what? Your video isn't going to close anybody. It's not going to attract the people you needed to attract. And then you're going to be stuck in this, hey, 50% off. Hey, $200 off. Hey, join today for free. Because now you become just like everybody else. You don't get me. You don't understand me. You don't care. So again, you want to agree with them. We can agree that we all want to be in a relationship. We could agree that we all want a great night out. And then now, but what does a great night out look like? So I agreed with you. We're on the same team. We're on the same side. We comrades. I respect you. You respect me. I understand you. You see that I understand you. So now, because of that, we can now have enough trust and respect from the person who's across from us to introduce a new idea. Then we introduce the new idea, which is, but what kind? But what does it look like? And now we get to talk about our strengths and what makes us different and what makes us better and what makes us the obvious choice to do business with. Because when you do that, now all of a sudden, there's not an argument. We're not arguing because we agree. We agree that a night out is important. And because we agree that that night out is important, we're on the same team. But now let's talk about what a great night out looks like. And then you get to introduce, all of your restaurant being clean, service being great, food being top notch, 5-star chef, or whatever you have that gives you an advantage over your competition. And, you get to introduce some things that maybe your competition is doing that is negative that you can now show that you don't do. You One thing that really makes a great night out go wrong is having to wait. You know, which is why we take pride in making sure that our plate time is, because we agree, that everybody wants to have a great night out. We agree that nobody wants to be embarrassed when they go to a restaurant. We agree. You know, and biblically speaking, how could two walk together lest they be agreed? So again, that is a way to get that piece of the puzzle to fit. A lot of times we go into a room and we start telling people how they're wrong. And when we start telling people how they're wrong, then all of a sudden they stop listening. Like I said, turning into Carrie Hilson, they turning you off. Wait a minute. I saw that video the other day, which is why it's still stuck in my head. But again, that's where we're at, guys. We want to do the things that work. And how will I know it's working? Okay. You'll know it's working when people stop asking less questions. You know, because most people are asking questions because you haven't told them the thing to close them yet. They haven't heard the solution yet. They haven't heard the thing that gives them confidence in you yet. It's like, oh yeah, I cut grass. Okay. But how much do you cost? Well, what do I get for my money? Okay. Well, how long will it take? See, people will ask less questions because you're answering. And as you answer the question in your marketing message, as you answer the questions in your posts, your ads, your videos, your flyers, you'll get more sales. And if you do the things that we talked about in the 3 S's, which is survival, safety, and status, you'll get more people, and more people will have confidence in you, which will then allow you to attract more people and build better relationships. Because if you did a great job, now we're friends. Now you're somebody who believes in me and that I can trust. Now you're a confidant. One of the reasons I've been able to advise multi-million dollar clients is the trust level. You see me getting results. You see that I care. You see that I'm ethical. You see that my solutions work. So now the phone rings and it's like, hey, this person said that you could help me. Why? Because you helped somebody like them already and they were happy with their result because they weren't embarrassed. They came out of it smelling like a rose. They came out of it looking good. So you'll know it's working when people ask less questions. You'll know it's work when you get some sales out of the blue, when you get some phone calls out of the blue, and people actually want to do business with you. I knew my business was working when the phone rang, and it was like, yeah, I was talking to Lawan, and Lawan said I should call you. You know, I knew the business was working when, yeah, I was talking to my cousin, and my cousin said I should call you. I knew the business was working. Yeah, I was talking at a convention to somebody about how well they were doing and what they were doing. They recommended that I call you. So you'll know it's working when people ask less questions. You'll know it's working when you get more random business from referrals, especially. So that's how you'll know it's working. Because now people have confidence in you and they'll just want to give you their money. You know, do great work. You know, like there are times I can't do the work because maybe it's just not, work that I do. But the fact that somebody thought enough to tell somebody to call me is great. So you want to get to the point with people where your solutions work, they look great, they feel great. The opportunities that you provided them are great based on the work that you did for them or did with them. And now, because they're shining, other people want to work with you too. So again, I encourage everybody to go back, listen to the other podcasts, to do the stuff that we're talking about in these podcasts. I try every podcast to lay it out as simple as possible so that you can follow it and post it and do it and apply it immediately so that you can start getting some results. All I ask in return is that, man, you tell people what happened when you tried it. If it worked, hey, tell them. If it didn't work and you have more questions or you think maybe you didn't do it right, go join, our group. And if you do that, then you'll be able to say beyond a shadow of a doubt, like, man, this guy helped me because it's working. It's generated millions of dollars. It's helped people win Emmys. It's helped people win Businesswoman of the Year awards. It's helped people win awards from LinkedIn, because their blogs are good. And, I played a role, whether as an advisor or as a ghostwriter in a small way. And that makes me feel good, to see the clients that I deal with be recognized. Beautiful thing. I was blessed enough to be able to write a book, on my own, and then to be able to write another book with somebody, who thought enough of me to want to share a byline with me. Appreciate that too. You know, but again, my track record's pretty proven. And I won awards as a sales trainer, as a recruiter. So try it. These podcasts are free, man, and I want you to win. Because again, I know it's important that you survive. That you have the things that you need, and if you don't have sales, it's going to be real hard to pay mortgages and car notes and put kids in college and buy braces and buy Jordans and Christmas gifts and help mothers with medication and fathers, with around the clock care and things of that nature. You have to be successful at this. Because if you don't, there comes that status thing. It comes that embarrassment thing. It's like, man, I ain't got it. And for my men out there, the quickest way to make a woman mad is to promise her something and then not deliver. So that's not promise our daughters bicycles or trips or whatever and then not be able to deliver. That's not promise our parents something and then not be able to deliver. That's be able to be ethical adults. And part of being the ethical adult that you need to be is getting this business right. Is getting it to the point where you can make a full-time living and that the full-time living you make allows you to have the ability to survive, to thrive, to be safe, that nobody's coming to repo it, nobody's coming to foreclose on it, you know, and then status, that you can be proud of it, that you can walk into a room and be confident and know that there's nothing that people can say negatively about you. Hey, man, we do great business. We're ethical. um, we're above board. We pay back our loans. We do everything that we need to do as a good business. We pay our people, but it's hard to pay your people if your money not right. So again, you don't want to put yourself in a position to be embarrassed. So please, I'm asking you with everything I have, do the stuff that we're talking about. And when you do it, let me know what you did so we can then talk about how to make it better. Because some of this stuff, if you do it, man, it works in minutes. Minutes. Switching up the way you say something or who you say it to may get you a customer in the next 15 minutes. As long as it takes to write it, post it, and sit back and see what happens. And if you do it consistently over time, my belief is that volume trumps luck. That if I take more shots, I got a better chance of getting lucky. So um, that's been another episode. As always, man, this is your business big bro, Sadon Long. Go over to growingrich.com and sign up. We got a training that's going to drop on Thursday or Friday. But if you are not a member, then you won't know that it dropped and you won't be able to get it. So again, go over to growingrich.com, click the make money fast button. You know, I'll do an assessment of what it is you're doing now. We'll look at your posts, we'll look at your business, we'll look at your revenue. We'll look at, what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. And again, a lot of this stuff works in minutes. And I don't know anybody who woke up this morning and didn't say they wanted more sales. I don't know anybody who woke up this morning and didn't say they didn't want to do a deal today. So again, going over there, check it out. It looks like the stream froze for some reason. I'm hoping that we still got the audio. So the audio will be up later in the week as well on Spotify, and it should be up today on the playlist on YouTube Music. So either way, you can check it out, play it back again. As always, have a great day. I'm out.